HDSLR Shooter. Brought to you by Akidio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeitz, JVC, Sennheiser, and Xylite.
Hey, Clint with HDSLR Shooter. I am here at the Visual Storytelling 2 tour with Alex Buono on the Los Angeles leg. Now, Alex, you guys are about halfway through right now, right?
Yeah, almost halfway through. I think we've got 20 cities to go out of a total of 33. So a little over a third of the way through.
Now, a little bit about you. Going back, you've been DP SNL for what, 13 seasons? Is that right?
I just finished my 15th season.
15 seasons. And then your first foray into directing network television just came. Is that correct?
Cable television. I just finished co-directing the first season of a new comedy show called Documentary Now. And I'm directing with Reese Thomas, who's my the director at SNL that I've been working with for a long time. I'm his cinematographer. And so we're directing this together, and we're working with a lot of the SNL family that we've all been working together with for a long time.
How did you feel that transition from going from DP to direction? Do you feel like your heart is still as a director of photography, or do you see it all as a part of the same process? I mean, of course it is, but how did you feel at the end of that?
It was a great experience. It was the best experience I've had on anything before. And a lot of it is the fact that I'm continuing to work with the same people I've been working with for over a decade. And Reese and I have been working together for 10 years. We have a great relationship working together. And it was a real treat to be able to work on something that was, a longer format, and working with Bill Hader and Fred Armisen and Seth Meyers, who are the creators of the show, who I've also worked with for a long, long time, and they're really smart and funny and special guys to work with. So it was a great experience, and it was fantastic to have the greater responsibility that a director has over a lot of other areas of production that a cinematographer doesn't usually get involved in.
Now, this is an all deal, and then you guys go way into the late hours. And I mean, we started talking about a shot list and things like that. I mean, you were going through, and then we've done, I think, 3 setups. Is that right?
Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, the goal here was to just do nothing but shooting demonstrations and trying to focus on the most complicated, sort of tricky shooting situations. So we started off by talking about some of the tricks that we did for the new SNL title sequence, and then we talked about shooting in mixed color temperature lighting. We talked about shooting different interviews. We did a car demo. We did a music video demo. We did a lot of, just things that I find either really common or things that I find really tricky. And I just wanted to run through a lot of different things and sort of offer the audience, a bunch of different situations.
Talk a little bit about your passion for doing things in camera.
Examples I was giving today were from the new SNL title sequence. It was new this season, where we approached it from the perspective of shooting in camera effects, because we were trying to create some kind of a nostalgic, kind of vintage feeling that would harken back to the 40-year history of the show. This is our 40th anniversary season. We wanted to somehow kind of nod to the 1975 origins of the show, and we thought that by just shooting with techniques that you could have done back in 75, as equally well as you could do them today, would somehow create that sort of throwback vintage feeling. And there's something about, mixing that in-camera effect, with the sort of enhanced post effect that I think is a better way to go. I feel like that kind of runs across the board. We were shooting in camera, we were color correcting, in post and in a computer. We weren't trying to color correct it, the way that you would have color corrected it 40 years ago. So it wasn't all in camera. But you can look at visual effects and have the same attitude. I think that doing as much as you can in camera and then enhancing things in post is sometimes it creates a much more sort of aesthetically pleasing effect.
You spent quite a bit of time on color correction, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, color correction is an essential part of my process. I've never taught anything about color correction before, so I wanted to find something that I could do in a class like this to try to impart something. Color correction is such a big, broad topic. You could spend an entire day or weekend or week on it, and so I just wanted to try to find something that would help people that were just learning how to color correct, who are just learning how to use their scopes, or they don't even know how to use their scopes, things like that would help them get into a color correction a little easier.
Talk a little bit about why you think the poor man's process is really kind of the way to go if you have that option.
Sure. Well, we looked at 4 different ways to shoot a car shot, and the car shots they're always tricky, they're always difficult, and sometimes you've got to actually shoot in a moving car, but if you have the latitude to shoot on stage and just fake it with creating the illusion of movement through lighting and shaking the car and shaking the camera, you're often going to get a much better performance that way, because you can go up and you can talk to the actors and they're in a controlled environment. You're not in some giant circus, moving train around a live street with moving traffic and, police cars. And working on a driving shot when you're actually driving in live traffic, it's not the best environment to be trying to elicit a good performance from your actors. So if we talked about how through poor man's process you could shoot in a controlled environment, still get a really good look, but have the ability to actually direct your actors and have a quiet environment and get a better performance.
You left with a bit of advice. Be a factory, not a warehouse.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
So that's a saying that I heard from a television producer, be a factory, not a warehouse. And what that means is, it's not about that one idea. If you're a filmmaker, if you're a maker, you should have lots and lots of ideas. You should be a factory. You should just look at ideas as something that you can do something and you're going to make mistakes, and just go make something else and make fewer mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and don't treat that one idea as like this is the only idea you're ever going to have. Because if it's the only idea you're ever going to have, you really shouldn't be in this business. And the fact is that it's not the only idea you're ever going to have. You're going to have lots of great ideas. You just need to treat this filmmaking process as an evolving process for you. And so that's the idea. Don't be a warehouse. Don't hoard that one idea and make it the most precious thing you've ever done, and it's got to be perfect or I'm not going to show it to anyone. Get it out there. You've been working on something, and we've all had friends that are working on projects for a long time, and you want to encourage them to go, I think you've learned everything you can from this. Just put it out there, learn from it, make another thing. And so I just like the idea of being a factory and just keep making things over and over and just getting better at what you do.
You guys are about halfway through the tour right now. So how many stops do you have left, do you say?
I believe we have 19 stops left.
And then are you going right into production after this on the show? Or?
Yeah, I have about a week off. So we end on September 20th. The show starts the first week of October this year. So I may have a week off. We might go right into it. We might shoot some things in the preseason. So hopefully I'll have a little bit of time off.
It's a great day. I mean, I learned a tremendous amount. You get to get up, you get to be a part of instead of just a spectator. If it's not coming to your town, if it's not, if you're not available to, you can buy the thing on DVD. Is that right?
That's right. You can get an HD download. You can get a DVD. It's the show. We shot the entire show in Portland last week. It's either a DVD or an HD download, and it's everything that we do, everything that we've done today will be available, as a download.
And if they want to find out more about getting tickets and everything like that, what is the website that they go to?
You can go to visualstorytelling.com. It's really simple. visualstorytelling.com.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
HDSLR Shooter, brought to you by Akidio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, JVC, Sennheiser, and Xylite.